computer. And how can I mute the people? Just gonna try to mute people.
Yes.
I don't see the option for that, Cindy.
Maybe we should just remind folks to please mute.
Oh, here it is. Mute. I figured out my system. Now I can hear you guys. Okay, if you guys can mute yourself, that'd be awesome. But if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to try to mute you guys. I love you, but I don't want to hear you because I'll get super distracted, ADD like that.
Yeah. So Jenny, if you click on participants and go to each participant and click their name, you can mute them, which I think you may need to do.
Okay, where? Oh, I see. Participants. Mute all. All right, y'all. Okay, I'm going to press. Did I press record? It did say recording, right?
Yes. Yep, you're recording, baby.
Perfect. All right, y'all. Good morning. And I was going to ask real quick before I start, can you see my screen yet or no? Cindy, can you see my screen?
Not
yet. Okay. All right. Here it is. All right. Y'all should be able to see my screen now. Is that right?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Can you see my notes too, or just the presentation?
Notes as well.
Yeah, that figures.
Present.
That one's perfect. Okay. All right. And the only problem too, Cindy, is I don't know if people are trying to enter the room if I have this on here. But that's okay. Yeah, just bear with me. I am not tech savvy, but I'm trying. So here we are. Okay. Can you guys see this now?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Sorry for all the confusion. I'll just tell everyone to just fast forward right through that. But I did the live on Wednesday. If you didn't watch that yet, I'm Jenny Gebhardt. This is just a little picture of me and my fam. I've got 2 boys. They are 7 and almost 9 next week. So they are my joy, and we are all in the mix of sports and things like that. That's just my boy mom life. I'm a dental hygienist. I practiced for 13 years, but I've been able to stay at home with them for the last 4. And so I do have a little bit of a science background. So I kind of nerd out when it comes to that. And I just want to share a little bit of that knowledge with you guys. I do have a lot of slides, or not a lot of slides, a lot of info to get to you. So I want to get through this. But I know that on Wednesday, I kind of challenged you guys to redefine your why of what you're doing, what's your main motivation for wanting to be healthier. And I would love if anyone would be willing to just start sharing some of that stuff in the chat. My favorite, most question is the one that says, what is something you want to be able to do that you can't do now? I think that really helps to give you something to really picture and go after. And I think it also can be what can hit into the emotion and the heart of why we're doing what we're doing. And so would love for you guys just to put in the chat, what did you redefine your why as? And then just also why that's important to you. So just to, recap, was not going through the motions, but really defining the emotions of why you're wanting to get healthier. So the things I'm going to talk about today is macro habits, macros, motion, and maintenance. And so I wanted to just start by talking about the microhabits of health. And that is something that Dr. Anderson, the creator of Optavia, talks about. Really, there's 6 main things that we want to try to focus on and perfect and, do better at every day. And so the first one is the healthy weight management, which is what we're all right now in phase 1. We're trying to do that. We're trying to get off excess visceral fat, excess fat, and that's kind of where we're at. So we're all nailing that right now. That's what we're doing. And the second thing is eating and hydration. So same thing. We're all in that, trying to perfect that, which is just eating those small meals throughout the day, staying hydrated. So everyone give yourself a pat on the back because we're nailing these. And then the next thing, and I started this because I'm going to talk about it, is healthy motion. And then these are the other 3: healthy sleep, healthy mind, healthy surroundings, which Wednesday I tapped into the healthy mindset and surroundings. So I just wanted to kind of dive a little bit into some of the ways we can get started in motion. And then also, I know a lot of people have some questions about macros and how that kind of fits in. I'm going to share what Optavia's macros are, so you just kind of have an idea of what that looks like. Get ready. The next slide I'm going to show you, it is a picture of the competition that I told you I did in January. So there it is, you guys. And this was something at the beginning of the year from January to May. I did macro counting. And so if anyone, do y'all even, I was going to ask if y'all know what macros are, but I'd certainly heard of them. I did have to take nutrition in college, so I knew a little bit about it, but not enough to really understand what it means. But really, it's just what our food is made up of. So, and that is 3 things. It's protein, fats, and carbs. So this also shares what the amount of calories per gram, and that protein is 4, fats are 9, carbs are 4. So our program really works through a 1-to-1 ratio of protein and carbs. Is that important? Not really. What I love about Optavia is it does this all for you. So that's why it's so easy. The counting macros, if you've ever done that, you know that it's really, really hard and it's really, really time consuming. So let's see. So macronutrients are also, this is just what provides us with fuel in the body in the form of calories. So that's what gives us energy. And protein is really what satiates us the most. What I love about Optavia is a very high protein. So I'll share in another slide, but it's like 80 to 120 grams of carbs, or protein, which is really, really high. And I was looking to see like how much protein should someone get. I called nutrition support. I'm that dork that calls and asks like really weird questions, but essentially most people need women are particularly around like 45 grams of protein a day. And I thought that was really low. It really surprised me, but that's partially why we are also very satiated and most people are not hungry on Optavia, is because we have such a high protein content. I also just saw when I was doing some research that alcohol has 7 calories per gram. And it has 0 nutritional value. And so that's why it's such a detriment for when we're trying to be in fat burn and when we're trying to get healthier. It's such a roadblock. So it also dehydrates you as well as makes a massive appetite stimulant, which I know when I drink, I typically want to go eat all the things. And so that was just a friendly reminder, not just for y'all, but for myself, because that is one thing that I truly do struggle with and something that I hate giving up, because for me, it's such a social thing of getting to have just something. And even if it's just one drink, it's just a reminder that this is not giving my body any nutritional value. Let's see, as far as the next slide here. Again, not super important, but the macros of Optavia is going to give you 40-40-20. So about 40% of your calories are coming from protein, 40% of carbs, and then 20% of fat. So the thing about the thing about macros and tracking and all of that stuff, it's like, it's just super difficult, and there's really nothing out there that can recreate the fat burn that you can get from Optavia. They have made it such a science that it's just impossible. But I thought it's interesting. A lot of people think that we're cutting out just because we're getting rid of a few things like fruit, sugar, alcohol, things like that. We're still not cutting out carbs. We're still getting about 80 to 100 grams of carbs, which is why you're still supposed to have good mental clarity and all of that. So if you think about people who do Atkins or anything else, those are going to be like reduced to almost 20 grams or less of carbs. And so what I love about our program is we're not getting rid of any of the main macronutrients. We're getting all three of them, just in a certain type of way that's going to cause your body to get rid of the excess fat and actually switch from using your carbs as your fuel source to your fat as your fuel source. So we love that, right? That's when we get to start seeing results. I mentioned there's lots of different phases in Dr. A's program, which is going to try to optimize your health. The first phase is really just the weight loss. And then the phase 2 is going to be putting in some motion. So the phase 1 is really the main part of where we're having to cut fruits and sugar and things like that with a really high glycemic index, just so you can see results faster. It's certainly not forever, and you're always going to want to end up adding back whole foods and fruits and grains, and all of those things are going to come into your diet later. And then I just want to share, like, if it's something you're really struggling with, to do the 5-in-1 with that cutting out fruit and stuff like that, then talk to your coach, because there are a lot of other program options that do include all 4 food groups. So if that's something that you want to hear a little bit more about, feel free to reach out to your coach or whoever invited you to the group. Let's see. So next thing, the 4 2-in-1, same thing. 40 40 20 is the amount of macros you're getting. So it's kind of a 1-to-1 ratio of protein and carbs, 20% fat. And then when you go into maintenance, the maintenance plans are all going to be determined by the USDA's guideline of macronutrients. And so there's a range and percentage for that, for which they follow. And again, it's all done for you. And all you're having to do is pick out the serving sizes of each thing. So I'm going to talk about that too. But when you're going into what we call that phase 2, this is where Dr. A talks about the habits of healthy motion. And if that scares you, it's okay. There's place for everyone to start. We're not talking about all of a sudden adding a vigorous workout. A lot of what we're trying to do in phase 1 is just focusing on changing your body composition and getting rid of some of the fat. And the thing about Optavia, and a misconception, is people think you cannot work out, and that is not true. In fact, if you read Dr. A's book at all, you're going to see that he only says to cut down the activity in the first 1 to 3 weeks while your body is adjusting to a new way of fueling. So maybe your coach told you that, like, make sure that your body just has a chance to adjust to that new system. And then we're going to start talking about adding in motion. So right now, everyone's in about their 3rd week of being back on plan. Now's a great time. That's why we're talking about this, to start adding back in some healthy motion. And I mean, you can start small, but there's a couple different ways that we talk about this. And there's a really great resource. I'm going to share that with you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. But there's a NEAT and there's an EAT program. And these stand for basically non-exercise versus exercise. So non-exercise, the NEAT system, the whole thing, I think it's non-exercise activity thermogenesis, just for the term, that's what that stands for. But really, it's not exercising, things that you do every day to burn calories. And that can include literally standing up from your chair, sitting down from your chair. And there's something, I think there was a recent study that says that 86% of Americans actually sit all day. And so the NEAT the NEAT activities really just talk about how to break up your day and how to even maybe set a timer for every 20 minutes to make yourself stand up and sit down. This was really weird that this came up because my husband actually, he listens to this podcast and he was telling me that like people who tend to just like bounce their feet and twitch burn a lot more calories than people who don't. And so if you have that habit of like moving your knee up and down, like that is actually burning calories. So try to do more of that. Dr. A puts like, there's like 6 different categories that he breaks it down to, and he puts them all as S's. I'll just show you because I have it pulled up here. But the NEAT system, talks about stance, strolling, samba. So he says something about putting on music so that you just kind of tap your foot, little things, standing, taking the stairs, and switch. I actually don't remember what that one was, but I can put this link in the chat so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But if you go to habitsofhealth.com, this is literally gold. You go to the top and you click on system resources. And I'm telling you guys, like anything you're interested in, it is going to be in here, including exercise videos, how to do those things. And then I don't know if you guys know, but Optavia just partnered with an app called Aptiv, and I think it's AAPTIV. I haven't used it yet, but it is a workout system that you can use and lays it out for you. But I also understand everyone's starting somewhere different. And so this is a good resource to kind of figure out where you're at. If you go to the NEAT, there's a NEAT full guide right here. And then you can go to a NEAT activity log that he kind of encourages you of really showing yourself how to build onto those habits that you're starting. And then there is an Eat Walking program, which is just how to start getting started. So I just love that, like Optavia, is it a weight loss system? Yes, but it's not just a diet. It really is something that's going to help you to continue to optimize your life, have more longevity, and just how it teaches you. If you can find it in the book, or you can find it on that resource. Like there's a grocery store thing. It shows you how to pick low glycemic foods and things like that. So I'm not a trainer, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you exactly how to start or get started, but I do think that it's important that we can start our healthy motion now. Is a great place to just even start walking. And one of the main things you can do is try to get 10,000 steps a day. So let me see here. But yeah, just wanting to reiterate that just because you're in a calorie deficit doesn't mean you can't work out, because you're eating such a high protein that is going to keep you, it's actually going to be really good for you. Okay. The last thing, and I just kind of like people to like see the light at the end of the tunnel. You are eventually going to add back in fruit, starch, dairy, grains. And I know Judson and her client last week talked about that a little bit. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys the resource in case you're curious to be able to go in and calculate the TEE. And this is really what you're going to do in maintenance. It's going to generate a calorie count for what your body needs in a day to stay at the exact same weight that you're at now. And that's your total energy expenditure. So you simply go to optavia.com. And if you scroll down, it's going to show you a little thing where you can fill out. And this is a free tool for anybody who wants to use it. But you can scroll to the bottom and type in your weight, age, height, and then going to ask you your activity level. So once you do this, you're going to be able to have the exact amount of calories, which again, we don't have to track those. All we have to do is follow the serving sizes. It really just gets super dumbed down for you. And it's gonna continue that habit of eating 6 times a day. And the categories are gonna, how many of each category is based on what your calorie meal plan is. So mine I think is 1,500 for my height and weight and everything. And I get 3 starches, 2 fruits, 3 servings of protein, and a certain amount of each one. And so what's cool is you'll just go by the serving sizes. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, but I did just want to show you guys that even in maintenance, I typically eat 1 to 3 fuelings just because I think that they're super easy. They're really high in protein and low in calories, which is hard to find. And then again, they have that 1-to-1 carb protein ratio, which helps keep you full. I typically will pair that with something on the Healthy Exchange list. So if you guys haven't heard of our Healthy Exchange list, again, I'm also going to put that in the chat, but it's essentially like any category of everything, every food that's out there, and it shows you how much to eat as 100-calorie serving. And I think it's around like 15 grams of carbs. And so it just kind of helps to keep you guys knowledgeable on the serving sizes, and then helps you to figure out how to pair. You usually pair 2 of them. It can be 2 from the protein. It could be 2 of any of the categories. And it's going to help you to just have a good guideline of what a healthy snack looks like. So I just don't like when people lose all the weight and then they don't go to the next step of making sure to transition and get into maintenance and really follow a guideline, because that is what's going to keep you from using this as a diet and really into the lifestyle change that this is supposed to make. And then also just making sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need by having servings of all of these things listed. You can see starch, fruit, dairy, protein, veggies, and fats. So again, what's awesome is once you get your meal plan, it's going to give you your serving sizes of how much of each thing to do, and then work closely with your coach to make sure you're doing that right. And obviously there's a lot of different ways out there to lose weight. So I think that if it's 5-in-1 isn't for you, you can always follow one of these calorie plans and just reduce the calories by anywhere between 300 to 500, just having a calorie deficit. That's another option. And just utilizing the fuelings, I think, makes this really, really simple to follow. The thing about the fat burn plan is just going to work a lot faster. So just kind of figuring out what's right for you and where you're at. And for me, the 5-in-1's not right for me right now, and that's okay. But I don't know if y'all saw my live on Wednesday, I had really decided to not make this about the weight loss and really more about healing like my broken heart with how I've been feeling about just the comparison and all of those things, and really trying to change my mindset from I have to, and I have to do this workout as a chore, to I get to, and I want to, and I want to be healthier, and I want to find exercise that's going to serve me in that mentality as well. So I hope this helps. I'm going to stop sharing here so that I can see all of your beautiful faces. So I'm sorry if I like fire hose y'all with a whole bunch of science and information there, but it's really my jam. It's what I love. It's what makes sense to me. I like to have reasons for why we do what we do. And I just think, obviously, the more you know, the more you know. So I will go ahead and stop the recording. But for anyone that's on who wants to have